Maya, the Queen of Thieves, Chapter 2. Maya awoke with the rising sun pouring through her glass window. The room was starting to get warmer as the sun shined in. Maya laid in her bed and stared up at the ceiling.
Aslar, I have to tell him how I feel today.
She quietly climbed out of bed. Her 4 younger sisters were still sound asleep. Maya tiptoed across the room, avoiding the creaky wooden floorboard, to the dresser in the room next door. She opened the lower drawer, rummaging through clothing, spotting the torn attire Prince Zeth damaged the previous day. She was planning to wear that outfit when revealing her true feelings to Aslar. That was the nicest gown she had. Her wealthy aunt and uncle had given her that outfit for her last birthday.
How could he do that to me?
She thought angrily.
Some future king he's gonna make.
A look of disgust crossed her face.
I wish I could snap my fingers and get everything I wanted. Forget him.
She reminded herself.
Aslar is more important and kind.
Another voice agreed.
And sexy.
A second voice chimed in. Maya let a small giggle escape.
Prince Zeth is sexy.
A deep, tiny voice from within admitted.
Yes, but he's also an arrogant jerk. Aslar is more of a man.
Maya could feel herself smiling as she thought of Aslar. She rummaged through the drawers some more until she picked out the perfect attire. She snatched the nicest long brown dress she could find in the drawer and put it on. She quickly styled her hair and added makeup, then walked out the door to look for Aslar. Her family was still sound asleep. Maya walked to the barn Aslar worked in. The left barn door was cracked open about a foot. Maya walked up to the opening and peered inside. She spotted Aslar with his bright blonde hair and masculine physique. Maya's heart raced and her palms began sweating. She was about to open the door more when she heard a voice.
You're acting really strange this morning. You know that?
Maya spotted Isabel standing in front of Aslar. Isabel was the most beautiful, kind, and funny young woman in their village. Maya always thought of Isabel as an older sister she never had. She remembered running and crying to Isabel when she was younger. She constantly complained to Isabel about how life was unfair. She was the eldest child and had more responsibilities than her younger sisters and brothers. She seemed to always get punished, and her younger siblings hardly got in trouble. Maya was mesmerized by Isabel. Her long blonde hair sparkled as the sun poured through the other open barn door on the opposite side.
I have already asked your father for his blessing.
Aslar's voice faltered a little as he took a step towards Isabel. He gently grabbed Isabel's hand and stared at her intently.
Will you do me the honor of being Mrs. Isabel Staple?
A smile appeared across Isabel's face. She started giggling.
Is this why you're acting strangely?
She raised herself on the tips of her toes and put both arms around Aslar's neck.
Of course I will.
Aslar wrapped his firm arms around Isabel's waist, and they leaned in, kissing passionately. Maya took 2 steps back, putting a hand over her aching chest. She began breathing heavily as tears welled up in her eyes. Her chest felt so tight. She hunched over, clutching both hands into her chest as the heartbreak intensified.
Are we going to have a ceremony?
Another man's voice came from within the barn.
She said, yes. Thank you for your blessing, sir.
Aslar, you are going to be a great son-in-law.
What's going on here?
Maya heard another voice ask curiously.
Aslar and Isabel are getting married.
Oh, congratulations.
Maya spotted more of the villagers coming up to the barn. She quickly turned around and noticed her neighbors walking her way. Maya desperately looked around and spotted a large leather hat. She quickly snatched the hat and put it on her head to hide her tears. Maya tried to steady herself as she approached the 2 older women to exit the village. Maya kept her head down and stared at the ground as she walked closer to her neighbors.
Aslar and Isabel are getting married.
Someone shouted for the entire village to hear.
Finally.
One of her nearby residents sighed, passing Maya.
Those 2 belong together. They make a handsome pair.
The other lady claimed. Maya heard the village cheering and celebrating as she reached the village's front gate. She stopped dead in her tracks as royal guards approached. spotting Prince Zeth on his horse.
Oh no! Please, no. I just want to escape.
Maya froze in front of her exit and felt small. She stood still, staring at the ground as tears continued pouring down her cheeks. Both her hands were pressed against her chest. She dreaded the sound of boots approaching her. She lowered her head and focused on the dirt as she observed shoes in front of her.
Bow down before the prince!
One of the guards snapped at her, knocking her hat off. Maya felt wind blow her hair back as her hat fell. She desperately went to her hands and knees to bow while hiding her face. She stared at the dirt and could feel herself trembling from crying. The boots disappeared from her vision and a horse's hooves stopped a yard from her. Heat rose to her cheeks.
Please don't let him see me like this. I don't want anyone to see me like this.
She silently prayed. She could feel more heat rising to her cheeks from embarrassment. She felt humiliated.
I have to deal with Aslar getting engaged, and now Prince Zeth also. The jerk tried to extort me yesterday, and now he is going to laugh since Aslar is engaged to another woman.
Prince Zeth stared down at Maya as she grabbed a handful of dirt, squeezing it tightly. He watched as Maya's tears dropped on the dirt. He could see her body shaking.
Your Majesty.
Maya heard her dad exclaim a few yards behind her.
You have impeccable timing. Please come celebrate with us and bless a happy marriage to Aslar and his new betrothed. It would be an honor to get your assent for their marriage.
Certainly.
Prince Zeth climbed down from his horse and noticed Maya's hat a few feet from her. He grabbed Maya's hat and placed the hat on her head so no one could see her cry.
I would be honored,
he said, standing directly beside her.
Maya? What are you doing? Come and celebrate.
Her father coaxed, spotting her.
No, not father, too. Why is Prince Zeth even here right now? This is too much. Run, run, run.
A voice pleaded in her head.
I'm going to go pick some berries for the party,
she said, still bowing on her knees. Maya quickly rose to her feet, avoiding Prince Zeth, and dashed towards the forest. She put a hand over her hat as she ran to prevent it from flying off.
Hey!
A guard yelled, but Prince Zeth cut him off.
Don't worry about it.
But sire...
The guard interjected.
It's fine. Thank you.
Prince Zeth reassured the guard.
Children. Ha. She's not used to seeing royalty. I apologize for her behavior.
Maya's dad humbly bowed again and gestured the prince into the village.
It's fine.
Prince Zeth smiled kindly and walked into the village with his guards. Maya rushed into the woods. She glanced behind her through heavy tears to see if anyone followed her. A sigh of relief escaped her as she slowed to a walking pace, taking off the hat. No one was following her. She was alone in the woods. Maya let her tears fall and began sobbing as she reached her favorite spot in the forest. She collapsed by a tiny lake and put her face to her hands, crying uncontrollably.
I'm too late. Why did I wait so long before telling him how I feel? I wish I had told him long ago.
A few hours passed. Maya noticed the sun going down.
I better get back before someone searches for me.
Maya leaned over to look at her reflection in the calm lake. She was a mess. Her eyes were puffy from crying. Her nose was red from wiping and blowing on her handkerchief. Her hair looked disheveled. She quickly fixed her hair and slowly stopped crying, splashing her face with water. Maya picked herself up and sauntered back to the village. She sat down and leaned her back against a tree from the edge of the forest. The forest was a couple yards away from her village fence. A few villagers were lighting torches and creating bonfires for the celebration to continue into dark. Everyone seemed happy and cheerful as a small band continued playing. People danced and sang around the biggest bonfire in the center. Several other smaller fire pits encircled the bigger one. A handful of people sat around each smaller bonfire, while watching the dancers encircle the large one. Maya watched as Aslar and Isabel danced together.
They do make a fine couple.
Maya admitted to herself depressingly. She watched the party continue from a distance as the sky turned dark. Aslar spotted Maya and walked up to her.
Hey, stranger.
He stood over her with a friendly smile.
How come you aren't celebrating with us?
Maya weakly looked up, staring into his eyes.
I'm not feeling well.
Maya lied, feeling drained. Aslar knelt down and bent over to put a hand on her forehead. His hand felt so warm. She could feel her face turning red as she gazed into his eyes. Her heart skipped a beat as their eyes locked. Suddenly, she felt ashamed as she stared at him.
Aslar has been nothing but kind to me since I was a child.
A sudden vision of Aslar came flooding back to her. She was 6 years old playing house with her favorite doll when 2 boys came over and snatched it.
Hey, that's mine,
she disputed.
Oh yeah? I don't see your name on it.
A boy sneered.
What are you gonna do about it?
The other boy chimed in. Maya quickly got up and ran after her doll. The boys began tossing the doll back and forth so Maya couldn't catch it. Maya started crying while the boys taunted and laughed at her. A third boy came up.
Hey, I want to play.
Here, touch.
One of the boys threw the doll. All 3 boys began playing keep away while Maya desperately tried catching her doll. Maya tripped and fell on the grass, causing her knee to bleed and bruise. She moved to a sitting position and put her hands and face to her injured knee, crying loudly. The third boy started yanking on her pigtails, making fun of them, while the other 2 continued throwing her doll around.
That doesn't belong to you.
A 12-year-old boy with shiny blonde hair appeared before her.
Give it back, now,
he commanded.
What? No way!
The boy who had the doll argued. The 12-year-old went over and punched the kid in the arm, snatching the doll from him. The kid began crying and ran away with his friends. The 12-year-old bent down to peer into Maya's face. He put a hand on her head. Maya slowly looked up at the boy with tears streaming down her face.
Here.
He placed the doll in her hands. Maya quickly hugged the doll as tight as she could, continuing to cry.
There's no need to cry anymore.
The 12-year-old petted her head, kneeling to her level.
I won't let them harm you ever again. What is your name?
Maya sniffled and looked up at him.
Maya? I'm Aslar.
He rose and stuck his hand out to help her up. Maya grabbed his hand and stood.
Nice to meet you, Maya.
Maya smiled up at him.
Ooh, ouch.
Aslar spotted her bruised, bleeding knee.
Let's fix that.
They walked hand in hand to Aslar's mom, who put some medicine on her knee and gave them each a bowl of custard. Maya had never been so happy in her life. Aslar was her hero. Maya returned to reality.
He doesn't deserve this kind of treatment. He is too pure and good for me. Isabel can offer him more than I can. She is the better match. Congratulations, Aslar.
Maya gathered all the happiness she could muster and gave him a weak smile.
Thanks.
Aslar patted Maya's head.
Feel better, Maya?
She watched Aslar walk back to the village with regret shadowing around her. She missed her opportunity to tell him how she felt. Maya had many years to tell him, but she was too chicken, and now she had to face the consequences. Aslar was marrying another woman. However, Aslar could not marry anyone better than Isabel. She was also kind-hearted like Aslar. Deep in her heart, Maya could only wish them the best. She felt a tear fall down her cheek as she watched Aslar disappear around a village cottage.
Aslar is a pretty nice guy.
Maya heard a voice from behind a dark tree next to her. Prince Zeth stepped into the moonlight so Maya could see. Maya instinctively turned her head away from Prince Zeth so he couldn't see her tears.
Yeah, he has always been like an older brother to me. It makes sense he would marry Isabel.
Maya hugged her knees and rested her head on her arms.
Isabel is the most beautiful and kindest woman in the village.
I see.
Prince Zeth nodded. There was a long pause before Prince Zeth continued.
The reason I stopped by today was to spread the word about an intern program. We need more apprentices to learn the trades of business since the kingdom is growing. We are looking for knights, farmers, medicine workers, blacksmiths, architects, drapers, and so forth. Internship auditions start tomorrow morning. You are more than welcome to come to the kingdom and apply.
There was another short pause before Prince Zeth continued.
Plus, you can get away from the Aslar situation. If you want.
There was another long silence and Prince Zeth slowly began walking away.
Thank you.
Maya said weakly and lifted her head to look at Prince Zeth. Prince Zeth stopped. turned his head sideways and nodded at her with a polite smile. He continued walking back to the village. Prince Zeth was bombarded by 2 of her younger sisters as he walked through the gate.
Prince Zeth, dance with me.
Her 9-year-old sister pleaded.
I want to dance with him.
Maya's 7-year-old sister pouted.
Let's all dance together.
Prince Zeth stuck out a hand to each girl. The girls cheered in delight and tugged Prince Zeth towards the big bonfire near the ensemble. Maya couldn't help but smile. She watched her sisters and Prince Zeth dance in the crowd.
Maybe I was wrong about Prince Zeth. He doesn't seem cruel,
she observed.
However, he didn't apologize for his behavior yesterday.
Another voice interjected.
My sisters seem to like him, though.
A voice countered back. Maya spotted Isabel laughing and dancing with Aslar. The fire lit up their joyful faces as Maya's heart continued aching.
Maybe I should apply for an internship. No one would really miss me at home, and it might be nice to get away.
Maya pondered for a while longer and decided she would head to the kingdom first thing in the morning. Maya slowly got up and headed to her house, avoiding the dancing villagers. She tossed the borrowed hat on a bench near a neighbor's dwelling. She snuck into her room without being spotted and got ready for bed. Maya felt drained as she collapsed in bed and fell fast asleep.